After a triple header in Europe, it's time to head to Singapore. For the first time since 2019, we're racing at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. So in a week's time, we move over from Singapore to the Japanese Grand Prix as well. Then a 2-week break before a back-to-back with USA at the Circuit in the Americas and Mexico City as well. Then a further 2-week break before the season rounds out with a doubleheader, the Brazilian Grand Prix at Sao Paulo, and then United Arab Emirates with Abu Dhabi to close out the 2022 season. Max Verstappen leads the Drivers' Championship and is his first chance to wrap up the 2022 season here this weekend. He leads by 116 points to Charles Leclerc in second, and Sergio Perez rounds out the top three. George Russell in fourth then as well, with Carlos Sainz fifth. They are the only drivers in contention to possibly win the title, but they will need an absolute miracle. It looks unlikely. For the first time in over a decade, Lewis Hamilton is out of a championship running position. Not since 2011 has that happened this soon. Lando Norris is P7 as well. He's holding off Esteban Ocon. Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas and Pierre Gasly wrap up the first half of the drivers' page. Kevin Magnussen is level on points as well in 12th position on the second half of the table. Sebastian Vettel is 2 points back. He's leading with Daniel Ricciardo. Mick Schumacher moves up to 15th place as well, a point clear of Yuki Tsunoda. Zhou Guanyu 17th with Lance Stroll 18th. Then comes the three Williams drivers. Alexander Albon has 4 points. Nick de Vries putting in an amazing achievement last time out, getting 2 points. Nicholas Latifi, now dropped from Williams at the end of the year, is still pointless. Can he get a point for the end of the season? And Nico Hülkenberg 22nd after only running 2 races at the start of the year when Sebastian Vettel had COVID. And in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way on 545 points. Then it's Scuderia Ferrari in second place as well. They are rapidly being caught by Mercedes. Alpine then are in a battle with McLaren, although look like they've got that just about sorted. Alfa Romeo have pulled away from Haas, who are now only a point clear of AlphaTauri. Aston Martin are trying to join that fight, and Williams now have 6 points on the board. It's the first practice session for the 2022 Singapore Grand Prix. Let's take a look around the Marina Bay Street Circuit, a 3.152 mile circuit, 61 laps ahead of us as well. It was Formula One's first ever night race and is still the most demanding on the calendar. Good exit out of turn 23 and launch down towards turn number 1. It's a flat braking zone as well. The first 3 corners really do surprise you and always gives us a great start to the race. 1 and 2, hard braking zone towards turn number 3, a third gear, second down. Now move up, 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear, 7th gear as you rattle through down now. Raffles Boulevard, open up the DRS, 8th gear maximum as you hurtle down towards turn 7 at Memorial Corner. Great opportunity for an overtake as well. A perfect chance to mess up and go straight into the barrier. Now the track tightens up in towards turn 8, 9 and 10 as you come past Stamford as well into this run down past the Raffles Hotel and down now towards the Singapore Sling. Into the corner, quick flick to the left, back on the power before the new modified complex as well, as we go over the Anderson Bridge. Into a very tight hairpin down at turn 13 and looking for some. We've seen overtakes there aplenty. Downhill then with the third DRS zone as well towards turn number 14. Slap on the brakes from 7th gear. Down to second gear, control the exit as well. The car can easily rotate around you on here as well. Back then into 17 and 18 now through the Esplanade. Back where Nelson Piquet crashed deliberately back in 2008. Underneath the grandstand as well, it's a vibration that is felt lap after lap. 19 and 20 coming up then as well through these very tight chicane. You get so close to the exit wall here. Drivers often flirt with danger. Flip it through turn 22 and 23. 2 left-handers to finish the lap and across the line. And that is a lap of the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Hello everybody and welcome to the 2022 Singapore Grand Prix. And the first practice session is around about 10 minutes away. And some breaking news in the world of F1 media. It has been announced that until 2029, Formula One will air exclusively live on Sky Sports F1. That is every single round of the championship, bar the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, which will be on free-to-air television. We also understand that Sky Sports will continue to share the role with Channel 4 as well. But a sort of good news story for everyone all the way around, and also very good news for us here on the watch-along, which means that we're still a good place to watch the race live if you don't have Sky Sports F1. The first practice is coming up as well. And of course, Singapore, this is the first time as well Max Verstappen has a shot at becoming the 2022 Formula One World Champion as well. But on the day of his 25th birthday here today, it has been announced that Red Bull and Aston Martin may have exceeded the budget cap from the end of last season as well. And if they are found to have spent more money in areas of development for technical parts of the car, they could face either extreme fine or a complete disqualification from last year's championship. So even though we are 16 races into the Formula One season of 2022 and 10 months on from everything that happened in Abu Dhabi, it is still reeking its head 2021 season. Alexander Albon is back in the car after having a respiratory failure after an operation and a reaction to the anaesthetic last time out at the Italian Grand Prix. He is completing this Grand Prix, and let's hear from him now in the press conference.
As fit as I can be, and we had a good week of training, or 2 weeks almost, to get back to where we are today. So, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we're realistic, and we know that we're coming to the most difficult race of the year. So we do have to be mindful of that. But I feel good. I've been karting, and it's felt okay. So yeah.
Are you in pain?
No pain.
That's good to hear from Alex Albon. We'll see how this session goes, but this is why it's so tough around this Marina Bay circuit. There the track is. It awaits. It's bumpy. It's an ordinary road most of the year, but now it's a racetrack. And these cars, they get such a rough ride over there because they ride so low to the ground. 2 inches as the maximum ride height they'll have, more like a couple of centimeters when they're actually under load. And that suspension is so incredibly stiff. There's just any bumps or anything is just transferred through the driver's bottom into his back. But it's Alex Albon's lungs that actually are the things that are under most scrutiny. Yes, he's done the exercise. Yes, he's done the training. There he is, just going to the back of the garage. Yes, he's done the karting, but he hasn't been able to perform in a Formula One car since. Maybe that banana will help, but it's just whether he can actually respire, use his lung capacity to the maximum, given that he was on a respirator. He was on a ventilator the Saturday and the Sunday of Monza weekend. He was having to be ventilated. So he's on a ventilator there 2 weeks now. He's at the most physically demanding Grand Prix circuit of them all. If he can get through this first practice session in the cool of the afternoon, then I think he would have made a breakthrough and he'll be good for qualifying in the race. But we'll see. We'll keep you across it.
Bit of a voyage of discovery for him, really, isn't it, this opening practice session then, Martin?
Well, I admire him getting back in the car. I mean, frankly, unless your leg's hanging off, you're going to be in the car somehow. And adrenaline is the most wonderful thing. And I wouldn't want De Vries in my car again if I could help it.
Well, Nicholas Latifi is leaving at the end of the year. He announced that, so maybe he will be his partner next year.
Yes, that's always an entirely operational situation. Let's just give you the coverage details then for this weekend. Practice 1, obviously watching now. Practice 2 at 1:45 p.m. as well. Sorry, 2:45 I think now. Then you can join us as well for practice 3 tomorrow, exactly at the same time as today at 10:45. Qualifying underway 12:30. The session underway at 1:30. Session underway at 2, and the race we're live 12:45 with green light going on. It's time for coverage of practice 1. Should we get going again then? It's been 3 weeks since the last race at Monza, and it's time for the flyaways to begin. And once more, we are back at the Marina Bay Street Circuit for round 17 of the 2022 FIA Formula One World Championship, the Singapore Grand Prix. Boy oh boy, have we been waiting for this return. It's a 23-corner nightmare for the drivers. 61 laps ahead of us, 3.14 miles, 5.063 kilometres. Lap record here, 1:41.905, set by Kevin Magnussen in 2018. 23 turns, 5.3 metre is the maximum elevation change. And to combat the twists and turns of this night street circuit as well, Pirelli have brought the softest tyres. It's the red soft C5, the yellow medium C4, and the white hard C3 tyres. It is predicted to rain as well, which means we've got the green intermediates and the blue full wet weather tyres as well. For the Singapore Airlines Singapore Grand Prix, track temperature is at 38 degrees, that's 100 Fahrenheit. 29 degrees Celsius is air temperature, 84 Fahrenheit as well. Wind speed 3.9 kilometres, blowing in from the south as well, and it should be quite an interesting session. Let's say good morning to Natalie Pinkham, who's up in the commentary box for Sky Sports F1 this morning, alongside Anthony Davidson as well.
It's brilliant to be back here at the Marina Bay Circuit, Natalie. It's been 3 years away. I think there's a lot of anticipation from the drivers and the teams and us as well. And I'm sure the fans back at home will be eager to watch the action unfold this weekend.
Absolutely. It's a racetrack that they all say is incredibly tough. Just how physically challenging is it?
Well, I think it's also on the mental side. I think that's the biggest challenge, is in navigating your way through the walls, just with how intense the Grand Prix is, how many corners there is in this lap. It's much longer, it's much slower than any normal street track that we normally go to. And then, of course, just the humidity. It's just getting yourself conditioned for that to come out here and tackle it. I mean, even walking from the hotel to here, you start to sweat. And it's just in your body, and that's where, preparing yourself the week before, that's not going to happen. You need to prepare yourself over probably a year to make sure you're in optimum condition when you get to this one.
Absolutely, as the riders and drivers getting ready to go in then as well. Hopefully we're going to be in for a very entertaining session. Just joined up the commentary cameras as well, as Josh will be joining us shortly in the comms box as well. Maybe a few seconds late. Look, there I am. Look, you get two of me for the price of one. As the comms camera just gets set up in the corner there. Yeah, got a new mouse this weekend as well up in the comms box, so it's easier for me and Megan to control the streams. I must say also, happy birthday to Max Verstappen, 25 years old today. He leads the championship on 335 points to Leclerc's 219. Afternoon, Tedos.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Hello, Natalie. Hello, everybody. Not so bad, actually, because we're in the shadow of the pit building here. So as back in Europe, we're feeling autumn's cool hand on our shoulder, not so much down here in the tropical heat of Singapore. And, you know, it's easy to forget that Max Verstappen started his Formula One career aged 17 and a bit. The diary of Max Verstappen, aged 17 and a bit. And that diary hasn't been too bad ever since. He's headed towards, he'll end this season surely being a two-time Formula One world champion. But it's always special, I think, Natalie, Anthony, Naomi, the first time you get the first time you get to a circuit and a race where the championship could, and I stress could, be decided. Yes, I know, for that to happen, Max Verstappen would have to win the Grand Prix, and something terrible would have to happen to Charles Leclerc, putting him 8th or 9th or 10th, and to Sergio Perez being off the podium and further down. It's not impossible. It's more likely it will happen in Japan in a week's time, but I do think there's a little bit of a special tension in the air as they prepare to hit the track now, given that this is the first weekend of the 2022 season where the championship, as you say, could be decided.
Thanks, Ted. Green light is on, and we are underway for first practice here at the Singapore Grand Prix for 2022. For Verstappen to win the title, he must lead the championship by 138 points and outscore Charles Leclerc by 22 points and Sergio Perez by 13 points. There's 25 points on offer, as we said, for a race win, so it's easily done. If he can do it as well, as the cars just head out now onto the circuit, as you can see. Bottas, Magnussen, Sainz, also going out there on the circuit. And we're in daylight conditions at the moment for this session as well. due to the fact that local time, it's not actually that late, it's only just gone 5 p.m. It will get darker later on as well. So it will be dark just at the end of this session, at the top of the hour. And then for practice 2 later on today, the conditions once again will be absolutely pitch black. Do get in touch with us on the YouTube channel as well in the chat. You can also use Twitter at Joshua Birch 99 on Twitter and Instagram. That's BURCH. But then again, I guess you guessed that because we've got the name banners just above us as well. And you can also join us as well throughout, and we can hear everything that we need to in the commentary over the Anderson Bridge then as well as Max Verstappen comes out. Now it was announced this morning, as I mentioned just in the build-up to this session as well, that Red Bull and Aston Martin are rumoured to have exceeded the budget cap for last season, and if that is found in any way to be a technical breach as well, if they've spent the money extra on developing the car to make it go faster, it is akin to cheating, and then it will open a whole new investigation for the FIA. I have suggested on Twitter earlier on this morning, if this does kick up some fuss, can we please call it Cashgate? It makes sense to me. Hashtag Cashgate as well. It's quite appropriate we actually say that in Singapore, where Crashgate happened back in 2008 with Nelson Piquet Jr. hitting the wall as well. Deliberately or not, causing several problems and making Fernando Alonso win the race. On board with them was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, just letting Max Verstappen go through, coming onto the back of the Anderson Bridge. This is the radio.
Stand by, welcome back to you. So for us it looks fine, just try. We'll check.
I think there's something wrong.
So there's something going on with Charles Leclerc. That's not great news. I'm surprised we haven't any team radio at the moment coming through. We've opened up that graphic channel, so if there is any team radio, we will hear it. But Charles Leclerc already having problems on a weekend where he needs to finish inside the points. He's not having the best of weekends currently, and he's struggling already. So drama for Charles Leclerc, second in the championship. Zhou has gone quick at the moment in the first sector, but Magnussen set the fastest first sector at 29.658. But all eyes at the moment are on Charles Leclerc and whether or not that car is going to make it okay. And that is a bit of a worry. Morning to Dismas, who says, welcome Singapore. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing all right. An average watcher of the Grid Network as well. Nice to see you over here as well on the YouTube channel. Adam, good morning Adam. Says, hi Josh, fully enjoy the Singapore Grand Prix. We'll be getting a lot of rain because of Hurricane Ian. Hopefully as well you stay safe, Adam, over there in America. I'm hoping that everyone in America as well and everyone who I work with on the Grid Network stays completely safe as you possibly can be. And I know it's going to be a difficult one to talk about this weekend. So hopefully all is good. And everyone's thoughts and prayers are with everyone that's suffered Hurricane Ian at the moment as well. Luckily, Ian Burch isn't in the comment box with us at the moment as well, because he's was saying a hurricane named after him is always a bad thing. If a hurricane is named after you, it's not a good sign. But luckily that won't hit the UK all that much. Max Verstappen then on the fastest times. We've got the first times on the board though. Magnussen is quick on a 1:51.074. Bottas second, Zhou third. Alonso at the fastest middle sector as things stand as Verstappen comes into the Singapore sling down at the bottom half of turn 10. Over the Anderson Bridge, 116 years old, I want to say. 19, 20, 21, 22, 114 years old is the Anderson Bridge. And little personal story, my grandfather as well, Stanley Burge as well, he's got a photo just outside the Raffles Hotel as well and onto the Singapore Bridge. Of course, he was stationed over in Singapore just after the Second World War. And we are trying to find that photograph. It's somewhere around here to show you this weekend. Hopefully we find it. But always some good memories of Singapore, and it's nice to have it back. And there's the unique part of the track where you go underneath the grandstand as well. Norris does a 1:49.726, goes fastest. Sainz second, Magnussen third, Bottas fourth, Zhou fifth. I nearly said it was a McLaren 1-2 there. I forgot, of course, that Sainz is now with Ferrari. And Verstappen goes fastest, 1:47.329, so good time there. Adam says, I work with someone named Ian, so we had fun with that because of the hurricane. I agree. And what is this going on about now? Natalie Pinkham and Nancy Davidson overtaking Sebastian Vettel on the bike.
I feel this is a little bit unfair to you, Ant, because you did most of the pedalling yesterday. But
That's not unfair. I look fresh there, so it's all right. You should have seen me at the end of the lap.
Did you ask them to show that shot? Did they? You cycling?
I did do a bit of it, at least.
You did a good job. You were definitely helped a little bit by Seb. He did push us for a while, and then his physio took over as well. He was, I thought, where's this?
Yeah, but I loved it because I didn't see Seb go to the back and push me, and he was going, Pinks, wow, we're getting up some pace here.
So they were running yesterday with Sebastian Vettel, and it looked like they had some extra boost, and it was being pushed by Sebastian Vettel. That's nice to see. Yes, me and Ian Birch as well have been saying about Hurricane Ian as well, and having a little bit of a joke with it as well. But obviously, hopefully everyone stays as safe as they possibly can be. But you can't not. When you've got a family member that's named after a hurricane as well, it's the jokes that get brought up as well. If only there was a Hurricane Megan, as Alexander Albon gets a big kick of oversteer coming out of turn 1, nearly touching the wall, just about gets away with it. If there was a Hurricane Megan, we'll certainly know about it. W Series returns this weekend for what could be the last round of the championship. W Series are having a financial problem at the moment, and it is rumoured that they are not going to be running in the United States Grand Prix or the Mexico City Grand Prix. So there is a possibility that this could be the last race of the year where Jamie Chadwick could always clinch the title. In fact, she's already champion as things stand, but she could clinch it officially here today, but it's the last round. That's at 9:45 a.m. UK time. Megan will be leaving the commentary box from MotoGP and going straight to the commentary box for W Series, and then I'll join about 15 minutes into the race for the last 15 minutes as well, alongside Megan will be alongside Ian Birch, and I'll take over from Ian Birch, and then we'll all be together hopefully for the race on Sunday to talk more about Formula One, because Singapore is the hardest Grand Prix of the year. It's 61 laps and always goes to 2 hours, no matter what distance you're on. So we've even got the timer ready. Honestly, we've got a timing graphic ready saying about the 2 hours, just in case, as you can see. No team radio at the moment, though, I'm seeing, but at least the driver tracker is behaving itself at the current moment. We're going to have this all weekend long now as well, driver tracker as well, which we can all work with quite easily, as it is bang on the same time as what we are. So everything is synced up to perfection as we see Alexander Albon cross the line as well to go 14th fastest. Jos Capito, happy birthday to him for yesterday as well, and gives a little bit of a wipe. I'm watching you through the window there as well. How long are you waiting for that one to come through? And this is Albon, I think, also having that little moment coming out of turn number 3. Gets a kick of oversteer, just keeps it in check. And considering he had a respiratory failure as well, and they were very close to losing Alexander Albon as well, I'm amazed that just 3 weeks later, he's back in a Formula One car. I mean, the commitment from that young man is unbelievable, as Carlos Sainz coming out of turn 20 and 21, jumping over the orange rumble strips as well, and just going for a little bit of a fly. I think Charles Leclerc is indeed back in the pit lane, so we'll send Ted down to have any more information as well, as Max Verstappen comes back through. We've lost a timing screen up here in the comms box. Don't know what's happened, but one of our timing screens is not working. So we've got one, but it's not working all that correctly. As Norris goes third, but Alonso's top, 147.398. Luckily, the timing monitor isn't working. Is the little one at the corner here. The main one I can still see is working as Verstappen goes to the top of the board with a 145.466, fastest in all 3 sectors, 28.6 sector 1, 40.8 sector 2, a 36.0 in the 3rd sector as well, and Sergio Perez 5th fastest at the moment. Magnussen goes 10th. Does Perez improve? Yes, he does. Goes 2nd, 146.634. He's 1.168 seconds slower on the board. Ted.
At Ferrari, where this brake problem for Charles Leclerc is real, and it's turning into an annoying little issue that's going to take a while to sort out. I think you can see the human wall that the mechanics have put out at the front of the garage. They've even enlisted the help of the of the marshal on the left-hand side, the scrutineer, the local Singaporean scrutineer. They've asked to come and bolster the human wall so people can't see. But it's fairly obvious what they're doing. They're having to change some elements of the brakes. So Paul's absolutely spot on when he says this is such a test for the brakes. There will be some cars and some teams that head into the Grand Prix on Sunday knowing that they cannot complete the Singapore Grand Prix because they are so on the edge with brakes. And if it wasn't for the human wall, Nats, we'd be able to see some of the cooling. We can actually some of the cooling.
A sneak peek. Look at that.
Some of the extra cooling that they've got around the caliper, around the disc. They'll try to minimise the size of the brake ducts. Obviously, the engineers would like them to be as small as possible. People who are in charge of keeping the brakes as cool as possible want them as big as the Mersey Tunnel, but they can't do that because it would ruin the aerodynamics. So yeah, just something. Maybe it's good that this issue is having now to Leclerc at a session that isn't really suitable in terms of its suitability to when the sessions are going to happen in the dark. It's not really representative, is it? That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, it looks like he is going to be kept in the garage for the next 10 minutes or so while they change these brakes around.
Okay, cheers. Cheers, Ted, as we just try and get everything sorted up here in the comms box. As George Russell, I think, has had a little bit of a moment somewhere on the track, coming through the Singapore sling. And is he going to have a little moment? Oh, he's locked up and gone straight on. Did he touch the wall? Yes, he did. Russell just touching the 10 Pro barrier, locking up, having to reverse. No damage to the front wing, but Russell having a big moment down on the Anderson Bridge and just about getting away with it. Is akin to a little bit more of drama. So lucky boy is George Russell to keep out of the situation. Anyway, all goes quiet out on the circuit at the moment as we're just trying to work out if we've got track audio, which we do, because it's all going a bit wrong up here in the comms box at the moment. Anyway, coming back through, Russell comes in then. So interesting what Ted said about how they are very, very worried about the possibility of brake failures cropping up throughout the race. And that is a worry for me as well, thinking about it. How long are we going to see brakes fading, crashes, multiple safety cars coming out in the Grand Prix if they're not careful? So... And it's a wet race as well. Prediction, the rain's going to come in tonight, and there's a very strong chance of rain on Sunday during the Grand Prix as well. So we're in for a classic Singapore Grand Prix on its return as Ocon goes fifth on a 1:47.053 as well. Verstappen is fastest of all so far in the middle sectors as well. And he's up actually by 0.486 of a second. So Verstappen looking mega fast through the moment. Oh, nearly loses it, coming into turn 17 and 18. Back past where Nelson Piquet had his accident. I say accident in 2008. The deliberate crash. And one thing I love about Singapore in the daytime, when we run it for practice 1 and practice 3, is you can see everything around the city, because at night, yes, it's a spectacle, yes, it's all lit up, but you can't see some of the wonderful architecture that this beautiful city has to offer. As Verstappen does a 1:44.748 on that soft compound tyre and goes faster still, but yet you can't see some of the beautiful architecture that this city has, and we're seeing it now just quickly on the camera. It's absolutely beautiful as George Russell getting some coolant on the brakes as well after just a little bit of repair to a little bit of a damaged front wing actually. It's Verstappen fastest, Alonso second now, as let's hear from Russell.
Team radio.
I went in straight on, there's nothing wrong with the steering or anything like that.
Yeah, it just looks like a few minor repairs maybe on that right hand leading edge of the wing, but yeah, I reckon he's got away with that. So
it looks like he has just about got away with it, which is great news. There's Charles Leclerc watching on as well. I don't know who was shouting that. I hope it's someone down there in the pit lane, but it was a bit of a strange situation coming through as all the action continuing to join up on the screen. And I'm delighted to say that just getting ready and joining me in the commentary box now as well is Josh plays, and he'll be ready with us in a few moments' time. He'll give us a thumbs up. Actually, I can see him actually on the monitor. So as soon as he's all ready, we'll bring him into the comms box. Sonoda 14th at the moment. Did he give a thumbs up? I can't see. Oh yeah, just getting ready. Thumbs down. Yeah, he's not ready just yet to come into the comms box, but he is around. Let's hear from Lando Norris.
Better. Just a lot of bouncing for me.
Okay, so Norris.
I mean, both in the straight line and there's some braking zones.
So Lando Norris is complaining about propulsing issues as well. This is what we were feared might happen at this circuit, because it is the situation where it's a large worry for people, this track, because 9 times out of 10 it's an accident waiting to happen with the brakes failing. And with propulsing, well, Mark Webber had a brake failure in 2010 and we saw how big that was. Or was it 2009? One of the two. And it was a big accident down turn 1. But with propulsing, as we see the beautiful McLaren livery, the propulsing issues as well, they've tried to resurface parts of the track to try and minimise it as much as possible, but sadly, it's just not working at all. As I'm just going to take us over to the battle screen for a second while I check everything is in the correct position it needs to be. Yes, it is as well, which means I'm delighted to welcome up to the commentary box now as well, it's Josh Blaze. Morning, Josh. How are you? Oh, hang on a second. Can't hear you. That's a great introduction. It's my fault. There's a problem with the MacBook sound, which is probably right because we've been having a few issues with the MacBook this morning. So that's input. Where's output? Needs to go to headphones. Try again, Josh. Good morning.
Good morning. I've just had a look on race control and apparently Russell was off track at turn 11.
Yeah, locked up, went straight on, just touched the barrier. He's back in the pit lane now, but luckily he is A-OK. Ted.
Waves on the edge of the floor, only for Lando Norris at this race. They've kind of sold it as, well, it's a different route. We're not quite sure if it's an upgrade or not. Clearly it is an upgrade. That's why they were only able to get one of them. But that excuses why Daniel Ricciardo doesn't have it. Of course, Lando Norris further up in the championship, performing better on track this year, better results than Daniel Ricciardo. So it's only logical if they only have one set of the new upgrades, it does go to Lando Norris. Ricciardo, hopefully for his sake, will get it in Suzuka in a week's time. But James Key, the technical director, flying out to be at this race. He's not at all the races. That is important for him to be here with that McLaren upgrade. Very nice it is too. Hopefully it gives them a few tenths of a second. We'll get onto the Alpine upgrade later, Natalie, but just want to tell you that George Russell, I think there might have been a little crack to that front wing. That's what they were just taping up with that metal speed tape on the inside edge where the wing main plane meets the upright, the end plate. But otherwise, Russell is back out on track.
Great. Cheers, Ted. As they come through as well, we're just having a quick conversation with our driver tracker for the battle screen to see if it wants to cooperate with us this morning and give us some good action as well. Cars are still circulating out on the circuit as well, and it looks to be, once again, another classic situation of he who dares wins around this track as well, Josh. And the situation is...
Marshmallow!
Say again? What is that outside Lando Norris's garage? Who is that? I don't know. I hope you know, because I really don't. As well, more with myself.
I
like
think just paying a visit to say it's okay not to be okay and be happier. See what I did there?
I did, hopefully. I know, because I've got no clue who that person was as I come through. I want to get your reaction first of all then, Josh. A couple of topics that we've been talking about this morning. First of all, Sky Sports F1 staying until 2029. What's your take on that?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Are you happy with that? I was like, that's...
I mean, it's good that it's staying with Sky, but it's never going to happen going over to a free view, is it?
No,
it's never going to happen.
Yeah, not all live again, no. I was kind of hoping BT Sport might take it. Just for something different, because I do like seeing how different people view different sports and how they broadcast them. But to be fair, Sky F1...
I don't have BT Sport.
That's true, yeah. But Sky F1 until 2029, I think it is just like... It's like we're in a comfortable marriage at the moment. It's quite nice. It'll make them the second longest broadcaster in Formula 1 history. BBC ran it for 18 years consistently from 1978 until 1996, and then again for 5 years or 6 years from there. So they're the longest broadcaster. Sky will now go second, ITV will be third, and Channel 4 will be in fourth position on that board, as well as longest broadcasters in the UK. But I like it. Sky having it there as well. And the second bit of news, Josh, Nicholas Latifi leaving Williams at the end of the 2022 season. Writing...
What?
Yeah, no.
What a surprise!
Writing was on the wall, as we said yesterday, from Monza. It's not really a surprise at all, is it?
It really isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was more shock if they don't announce Nicholas Latifi, than to be fair as well. But rumour this morning is that rumours this morning that Nick de Vries is actually going to Alpine. And Logan Sargent, as you said, Josh, yesterday, could be going on for a shot at Williams. So there's a chance. There is a chance as Sainz goes third on a 1:45.626 and immediately beaten by Sergio Perez across the line with a 1:45.349. So I don't know. Who would you put in the car, de Vries or Sargent? I personally would put Sargent in because I think de Vries is too quick to put in a Williams.
For Williams... If Williams are looking at a development point of view, like as a development driver, then it would be Logan Sargent. But if they want to develop the car, then it would be Nick de Vries, possibly.
Switch over from one to the other now as Sky go on a break. We'll switch over to the battle screen as well now. Because we've got no TV pictures, so there's no point looking at our reaction. We've got the... TV player as well, but it's a bit behind from the pit lane channel. But yeah, I agree. I think Sargent would be better in there. I agree with what you said yesterday, but I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that they get a good replacement in, and it's not somebody who's going to devalue the face of Formula One. So
Jamie Chadwick.
What? Get her in the seat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Get
and
Jamie
then
in.
just just completely blank Stefano Dominicali.
Yeah, I want Jamie in. Jamie would be a fantastic driver in the Williams, and of course, as I said earlier, W Series might be at risk of not completing the end of the season due to budgetary constraints as well. So this could be the season finale, and it's in commentary box B once again, because at the same time it's the MotoGP Grand Prix of Thailand as well. So we've got to commentate on that, and then I'll leave the commentary box and join Megan later because the race starts 9:45, and we're sort of going for a chance if the race, if MotoGP finishes before 9:45, we'll have a quick off for MotoGP and go straight to the W Series, and Megan will come back to this commentary box. But more than likely, it looks like Megan and Dad will be commentating on the start of W Series, and I'll join after the end of it as well. Go on.
Says it's very clear the setup change we need to do, guys. The one we talked about. And then the mechanic says something.
Also for us, it's quite clear, so it's good. So Ferrari, once again, being bizarre strategists, and it's Sainz and Leclerc out on the circuit. I think Sainz has just come back in, actually, according to the driver track. He's not there. Leclerc's just going around turn 14 now. So Leclerc's out there circulating, which is good news. On the driver tracker, you can see just ahead of us as well. And I was hoping that Twitter might be able to play something from Charles Leclerc, but it's not playing ball with me, because we heard from quite a lot of the drivers yesterday, of course, in the press conference. Oh, no, I've got it. It's opened up now, finally. Yeah. So
I'm in chat.
Oh, the chat, yeah. So, as we said yesterday as well, we heard from the drivers' press conference yesterday as well, and some of the people who spoke to us as well with Ted Kravitz. But there was a number of drivers we heard from, but it wasn't televised. So, hopefully, we're going to hear from them shortly as well. And it's starting with that of Charles Leclerc, because he is our most preferred man to listen to, because he's trying to go for the title hunt, and we want to hear what he has to say. So where are we? Yes. Actually, here he is. Let's listen to Charles Leclerc now, talking with Ted Kravitz yesterday. Hopefully. Well, you were asked for it to play.
I would imagine Ferrari look
Right, here's Ted.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Singapore. A place I would imagine Ferrari look forward to coming to, seeing as you're the last winners here in 2019.
Yes.
And sorry?
I'm second. I
And
finished
you-
second
yes,
and
you
Seb
did,
finished
yes.
first. So 1-2.
Maybe could have, should have won, but that's a different
No.
story. But it seems to be, if it is the car, this year's Ferrari is anything, it's usable on any circuits, and we're expecting such a bumpy ride. Actually, maybe it shouldn't be so bad for the Ferrari, and you should be optimistic about it.
I don't know yet, but I mean, I think a track like this should suit our car, but Red Bull has done a big step forward since the summer break, so I think it's going to be difficult against them, but let's see. I think our focus is mostly on the race. I think in qualifying we've been strong, and also after the summer break we were quite strong, apart from Spa, that was a bit of a one-off. But in the race day we seem to struggle a bit more compared to them. So let's see if we manage to regain a bit of performance this weekend.
Okay. Something people watching the races recently might have said was, that there seems to be some back and forth on the radio between you and your guys, and you've had some ways of finding the perfect chemistry, whether it's discussing race or strategy or whatever. Have you thought about that? Have the team thought about that the last couple of weeks that we haven't had a race, and come to a sort of a more permanent, perfect solution?
It's an ongoing discussion, and of course we've been speaking about it, and yeah, but again, I won't disclose exactly what was the discussions about, but I would really like to use these 6 last races of the season to try and focus on the way we execute our Sundays, and this is super important going forward. We've done an incredible step forward from last year to this year in terms of performance. There's another step that needs to be done in order for us to win the championship, and we'll focus in these last 6 races on exactly that.
Okay, that's good. And last question, I'm sure it was never in doubt, but you know what things were like in Monaco earlier this year, people discussing whether Formula One was really not going to go back to Monaco anymore. You know, it got sorted out. Was it a bit of a relief, though, to see next year's calendar and to be sure that it's on next year's calendar?
It was. I was quite aware about the discussions, but yeah, I was very happy when I learned that it was finally done. Obviously, it's my home race. It's a very special race for Formula One and for Monaco also. I think it is a very special sport event in Monaco. And yeah, I'm just very happy that it's back officially on the calendar.
Thanks a lot.
And that is the information then from Charles Leclerc as we're back on the TV pictures. And I'll tell you one thing as well, Josh, next year's calendar has now, as we said, been released. I'm just getting it up once again as, oh dear, looks like we've been spammed a little bit. Thanks, Josh, for getting that out of the way. I've just looked at the chat. Next year's calendar, it's absolutely insane. 24 Grand Prix, 6 sprint races. Doesn't clash with Le Mans, but MotoGP have just released their schedule, and it does clash with the Italian Grand Prix and Le Mans for MotoGP and World Endurance. So I'm missing that race, and Megan's taking Italy at the moment. But we start off in Bahrain on the 5th of March, then we go to Saudi Arabia on the 19th. Australia is on the 2nd of April. China is making its return, and that is currently penciled in for the 16th of April. Azerbaijan is on the 30th of April, Megan's birthday as well. Yeah. Well, 26th of March is also in Burgess, but there's no one on that one, for it's just MotoGP season opener then. Miami on the 7th of May. Imola moving to late May now, a week before the Monaco Grand Prix on the 28th of May, which will also play host to the Indy 500. The Spanish Grand Prix moves to June, the 4th of June. That's going to be one of the hottest Spanish Grand Prix we've ever had. Canada, a week later, 2 weeks later, on the 18th of June. Austria is on the 2nd of July. A week later, it's the British Grand Prix at Silverstone for Formula One, alongside the MotoGP Kazakhstan Grand Prix. So that's something else we've got to look forward to as well.
MotoGP.
Yeah, alongside Kazakhstan on the weekend of the British Grand Prix. Usually for big events they try and stay away, but not next year as well. So that's going to be fun to try and commentate on 2 things at once, including the British Grand Prix with all the other series live. So something will have to be done about that. Anyway, it's just a cancellation of the bigger calendar. Hungary is on the 23rd of July. Yeah, the Belgium Grand Prix is back on the 30th of July. It's the last race before the summer break. The Netherlands Grand Prix is on the 27th of August. Italy is on the 3rd of September. Singapore, the 17th of September, so a year's time. It's Japan next on the 24th of September. Qatar starts off as well, back on the calendar at the Losail International Circuit. That's on the 8th of October. And because Qatar's back at that track, MotoGP have had to move at the same time to later on in the year. So Qatar for MotoGP is now actually the second to last race on the calendar because Qatar's having renovation work done to host Formula 1. MotoGP's had to move it around. So Qatar's back. Nobody wanted it, but it's coming back. United States on the 22nd of October. Mexico City a week later on the 29th. The Brazilian Grand Prix is on the 5th of November. Las Vegas is on the 16th to the 18th of November. But that is a Saturday race. So for us here in the UK, it'll actually be 6 a.m. on the 19th. So that's going to get confusing beyond belief. And Abu Dhabi a week later on the 26th of November rounds out a 24-race calendar, plus that of 6 sprint races. So 30 Grand Prix next year is insane. And MotoGP have just announced a 21-race calendar with the removal of the Aragon Grand Prix and the addition of the Kazakhstan Grand Prix and the Indian Grand Prix as well later on in the season. So it's already getting to the time where everyone's going to scream, I think. But it should be fun. And hopefully we're not going to go too insane next year.
Yes, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, there are going to be some races where I'm not going to be able to do 2 series at the same time. So I'm going to always prioritise Formula 1. So MotoGP, Formula E, British touring cars, well, touring cars usually are on delay anyway, so they're fine. But for like MotoGP and Formula E, it looks like Megan might be taking a couple next year, as well as USRN taking a few Formula 1 sessions if they clash with MotoGP sprints. So it's getting interesting next year. We're going to have a big winter to plan it all. In fact, planning for next season starts in October. So in a few days' time, we get ready, and once all the calendars are announced, we get that sent out. But what's your reaction, Josh, to the calendar? 24 races, it's just too much. I mean, I don't see...
Way too many.
I don't see China happening, and I'm annoyed that Qatar's happening. So, yeah.
I would rather watch paint dry than watch 24 Grand Prix.
Yeah. I think we all agree with that as well. I mean, looking at it, I'd keep Bahrain, I'd get rid of Saudi Arabia, I'd keep Australia, I'd get rid of China, because last time we were there it was absolutely boring. I'd keep Azerbaijan, I'd get rid of Miami, I'd keep Imola, I'd keep Monaco, I'd drop Spain, I'd keep Canada, I'd keep Austria, I'd keep Silverstone, I would keep Hungary, but only if it rains, keep Belgium, drop the Netherlands, keep Italy, keep Singapore, keep Singapore, keep Japan, drop Qatar, keep America, drop Mexico, keep Brazil, drop Las Vegas, and drop Abu Dhabi as well. There you go.
That's controversial there, especially if you're dots.
Well, okay, I'd keep the Netherlands and drop Abu Dhabi. There you go, because I think I'll keep the Netherlands but drop Abu Dhabi. Just make it a 20-race calendar, and I think I dropped about 5.
Michael Massey will be happy about no Abu Dhabi.
Yes, I know. Yeah, well, he's going off to do supercars.
What will be the season finale then?
Brazil,
yeah.
Yeah, put Brazil as the season finale. I mean, it worked for 5 years. Don't mess what isn't broken.
Imagine
or
a season finale at Silverstone.
In that way in December. I'll be lucky if it even happens.
Yeah.
I tell you what I would do though. I would put Australia as the season finale, but back at Adelaide.
Yes.
That would be the better season finale. Hello. Breaking news just come in as well. And this is from the racefans.net. The FIA is currently finalising the assessment of the 2021 financial data submitted by all Formula 1 teams. Alleged breaches of the financial regulations, if any, will be dealt with according to the formal process set out in the regulations. Oh dear. So there's something going on there. They know something. A Stroll goes second, 1:45.221, 9/10 off the pace of Verstappen. So if Red Bull have broken the limit, and if it was to develop cars I've got a bad feeling it's not going to go well down there. Australia Now, hello. Welcome. Good morning, Australia Now says, woohoo, the break is over. It is. 3-week break due to the cancellation of the Russian Grand Prix being on the calendar and being removed last week. So that's why we get 3 weeks off. And the sun just beginning to set here in Singapore, and you can tell that the track now beginning to be taken over by the floodlights as well. But this is actually the first time that we've done a 6 o'clock session, because usually it's at 3 o'clock Singapore time. Everything was moved over to the evening as usual. This is Russell's Radio.
What's going on with this torque overrun into turn 8 and 9? Do you see it?
Ava, we can see something going on there, suggesting to lot more in there.
It's not diff.
So there's something going on with George Russell, and it's not differential, so I wonder what's happening with the torque. Just seems to be extending a little bit and having a little bit more of talky power. Oh, that's a beautiful shot there. Imagine you're going home from work and you just see a Formula 1 car.
What's going on with this torque overrun into turn 8 and 9? Do you see it?
Ava, we can see something going on there, suggesting to lot more in there.
It's not diff.
Don't know if that's radio coming from me or from you, Josh, at that point. Was it from me?
That's from you.
From me, right. So the radio's not working.
Straight
Wow!
to the...
Sainz had a major twitch coming out of turn 7 and almost put it in the wall. Major twitch. The car jolted towards the wall. Amazing skill there. But Sainz, he's backed off, obviously, but almost slashing it completely into the wall. I want to see a replay of this on board. Here we go, Josh. Take a look. It is insane. Gets a big oversteer and gets it almost close to the wall. And he had a heart moment there. It's better off board. What do you think?
Yeah, that was very, very close. And there we go. Look how close that is.
He certainly did.
He's just said over the radio, I've had a moment. And that was so close to being a write-off. There you go. You heard it over the PLC instead. And he's now backed off and let Perez and Leclerc go through. Ocon's just ahead of him on the driver tracker. But still, major moment then. As Sergio Perez has set the fastest first sector time of 28.129. So Perez is finding the optimal time, which isn't surprising. And he's going to go pedal to the metal as he comes into the braking zone. 4 tenths up again. Sector 2 is a 40.178 as well. So very good situation going on right now for Checo. And worries about team orders being imposed. I think we can forget about it. I think Perez is definitely going to go for it. Oh, hang on a minute. Verstappen, 27.9 first sector. Fastest again as Ocon goes to second on a 124.736 as well. But do you reckon team orders could become a thing for Red Bull this weekend?
Oh, definitely, as Perez comes across the line, goes top with a 143.839. It's definitely going to come into play, and that is an Aston Martin going slow.
And it is, I think, Lance Stroll, because Vettel's coming around the last corner, so the yellow flags have been brought out, and it's Lance Stroll. Now, he must have touched the wall coming out of turn number 6, where Sainz almost has his moment. Now, I don't think he might just be able to get that back to the pit lane if he goes very slow, but a green flag apparently, but he's still going slow, so this could be a red flag, but there's a runoff just before, so if he can get it to the runoff, it should be okay. Yellow flags are still out, so I don't know why we're saying green, because there's a car right in the fast lane. Verstappen looking quite good. First sector is looking good, second sector looking good as well. Can Verstappen get this lap time in before a red flag gets called across the line? Yes. 143.117 on the soft compound tyre. 7 tenths quicker than Perez. And Stroll has now completely stopped coming into turn number 7. So this might now be a red flag situation, and it is.
Red.
Yeah, a red flag situation to stop the clock with 20 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Sort of had to be a red flag. Because he stopped at a dangerous part of the track and he must have touched the wall. I'd be interested to see a replay on this one. But
right on the entrance.
Yeah. Ted?
Difficult to recover the cars, so the session has been red flagged.
Okay, that's Nats. No Ted at the moment. He's got out of the car, which is good news. Here it is then, Josh. So into turn 6, swings it in. Does he have an oversteer moment? Gets in the dust. Yeah, oversteer and whacks the wall. So I don't think that's a suspension failure. I think that's just he's punctured the tyre immediately.
Yeah, he's on board. Massive whack, and rear left definitely had his.
Yeah, there you go. Just touches
look at
the wall.
that ball of fire from the massive hit, but that's definitely wrecked something in the car.
Again. There's the whack. Oh, oversteers as well. He knew him instantly when he felt it. Let's listen. There's a radio.
So stop the car, go straight and stop the car, go straight and stop the car.
Well, Lance Stroll was having a good session up till then. He was 4th fastest on the board, but the red flag has come out to stop the proceedings, and unfortunately, it's taking the track time for everybody else. Luckily, it's only first practice, and the track conditions are nowhere the same of what we're going to see later on, so he is just about excused from making more drama and more of a mess, but everyone now filing back into the pit lane to bring out the red flags now as well, as F1 TV again just showing us some more information about what we needed to see with the red flags being brought out. Do you think we'll go back green shortly, or do you think this is pretty much a situation where we're now going to have to wait?
We'll go back green with around 13 minutes to go, I think.
Yeah, it looks that way as well. Oh, I just realised what that was. That needs to be left switched off as well. So time is ticking away here as well, as we're just getting ready for the restart procedure shortly. Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel apparently is a Red Bull. What's happened to the pit lane now? Did you see that? Yeah. Here we go. There's Lance Stroll. Live on board of him. Just looking at now as well. I was thinking, have we gone back 10 years? Very bizarre. As now just getting in. I'm trying to change my camera over so I can sit down for a little bit. Because it is hard work standing up in the comms box, especially as up since...
Session will resume at 18:44, so 15 minutes left.
That's not bad at all, actually. That's a very decent time to get a restart in. And get some optimal lap times, I reckon, as well. That will give them how long, do you reckon? About 13 minutes of running for actual session time, because it'll be 2 minutes out of the pit lane, won't it? So yeah, that should just be enough time.
Yeah, Stroll's behind the barriers now, the car.
So Stroll will go for a little bit of a walk as well, and take that back, and fingers crossed the session should resume shortly, as we were expecting a lot of interest. By the way, for anybody who is fans as well of Hocus Pocus. Yeah, fans of Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus 2 came out today, and we're all very much looking forward to watching that later on today as well, myself and the family. Because massive fans as well, and who isn't? Who you should be, really. Massive fans as well. There we go. I've managed to get the camera sorted so I can take a seat for a little bit. Red flag as the setting sun comes in. Haas have just tweeted saying both guys have belted out their quickest laps after that set of the soft compound tyres as well. And this is Jenny Gao saying Alonso, naughty, Nymph, starts his 350th Grand Prix this weekend. Yep, it's down the pits. Go on, Josh.
Yeah, the pit exit's open.
Yes, so
16 minutes left of the session, and we're still on an ad break on...
That's weird.
Sky F1.
They've opened the pit lane.
Apparently, George Russell was also a Red Bull on the pit lane channel.
Yeah, they've opened the pit lane a minute early, which is a bit bizarre, but we are green flag and the session is back underway, and the cars are now beginning to head back out to the circuit. This is a lap recap then of Max Verstappen. We're just seeing on our pit lane channel feed at the moment as well. He was fastest and still is on a 1:43.117 as well, and I can't wait until you see what we've got coming up for you at the end of this session, because we've got a brand new graphic to show you the results table as well. and it's taken from live data as well, so we don't have to do anything. So the session results now have completely changed, and it looks fantastic, and also the starting grid's changed as well, so you're all in for a treat when you see that shortly, as well as we now see Carlos Sainz on the circuit down towards the hairpin as well, Josh, at turn 13, and just keeps up that pace as well. Does the Ferrari? Does Carlos Sainz have a chance to win the race this weekend? As Ferrari's result at Monza saw them become the first constructor to surpass 10,000 points scored by their drivers in F1 Championship history. That's an amazing achievement for Ferrari, but I think Josh will agree it's a poor situation, especially considering the fact that Ferrari have dropped the ball massively in the second half of the season.
Yeah. I mean, Ferrari, every single race have a chance to win it, but somehow strategy pull a bingo ball out of the...
Yeah. Just doesn't work, does it? It's all a mess for them as well.
And they chose a plan, well, on Excel spreadsheets, you have A to Z and then A to Z. They chose probably A, Z.
Yeah, complete last plan possible, wasn't it? As well, and they have been a bit of a joke this season, Ferrari as well. I honestly thought about having the season outro as Sending the Clowns as well, but I did think Don't Bother, they're already here with Ferrari as well. But honestly, it is that song that it mainly stuck in my head as well from when Dame Judi Dench sang it at the BBC Proms a few years ago as well, for Send in the Clowns as well. That's good, Ted.
Which is good, but I wanted to update everybody listening about this budget cap story that's really
Ted.
a hot topic in the pit lane and the paddock at the moment. If it's all right, Natalie, we'll just do it briefly now. So it's a truism in Formula One. If we start at the beginning, in Formula One, if you want your car to go quicker, you spend money on lots of different areas, and that helps your car go quicker. It doesn't always, spending loads of money doesn't always guarantee to make your car go quicker, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb that if you spend lots of money, your car will go quicker. So clearly it's a sporting thing, and to stop that, to bring costs down in Formula One, the FIA and Formula One all agreed to have a budget cap to make sure there's a bit more level playing field amongst everybody else. And to enforce this, the FIA does a process of verification. It starts in March and it refers to the year before. We've had a statement from the FIA, an FIA spokesman, I'm quoting here, the FIA is currently finalising the assessment. Sorry,
Whoa,
do stop it.
Sainz went very wide out the last corner there, Josh, and it almost gave everyone a heart attack. That was insane. But just completely wiping it.
Second time in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sainz losing the wheel a bit.
He just saved that. No idea how. Anyway, back to Ted.
The FIA is finalising the assessment of the 2021 financial data submitted by the F1 team. So this is last year's budget cap. Alleged breaches of the financial regulations, if any, say the FIA, will be dealt with according to the formal process set out in the regulations. That's the FIA saying that there are any alleged breaches. And that's the rumour going around in the paddock in the pit lane that one team is in a very big breach of the budget cap for last year. Another team is in a small breach of the budget cap for last year. So that's the rumours going around. And just to tell you how it works, they go through all the policing all this budget cap. They go through all the books and try and ensure compliance and everything. And they issue certificates apparently next week. So that's why this is quite a timely story. These certificates of compliance need to be issued next week.
And what do they mean?
To ensure, as a rubber stamp, a certificate with a nice seal on the bottom saying, yes, team, you are in compliance with the budget cap. Well done, you didn't break the budget cap.
But what if you're not, if you don't get one?
Well, then there are penalties that can be applied, ranging from financial penalties, from fines, to sporting penalties, to even worse, to constructors' points deductions, to, I guess you could be. I can look for the actual regulations, but I'm pretty sure that you could go all the way to exclusion from the championship, from last year's championship, or maybe it could be this year's as well. But it is done 1 year in arrears, so it's pretty serious stuff. and the FIA is doing good work, hard
Michael
work
Massey is
in
coming
actually
for
policing the
Verstappen.
budget cap. But it all seems to be coming to a head here in Singapore. And when those issues, those certificates of compliance are, I know it's a bit of an engineer speak, certificates of compliance, but it's fairly self-explanatory. You get the green light, you get the stamp on your certificate, whether you've been a good team and kept to the budget cap or not, and that will happen in the next week. So that's what the story's all about.
Cheers, Ted. And as we were talking about earlier on, Josh, as well, it is actually a very, very big deal, because if it's Red Bull who's breached the, and it probably is, to be fair, the cost cap, because Aston don't have that much money, if it is Red Bull who's breached the budget cap massively, then they could face disqualification from last season, which means that Lewis Hamilton could be the world champion 9 months later. I mean, it would be for the wrong reason again, because if it's found out that Red Bull they got given the title by Michael Massey, everyone agrees on that, even the FIA agreed it was a mistake, and then if we found out that Red Bull had used more money to do that in a technical side, then Red Bull massively cheated last year. That's all hypothetical at the moment, but the rumour is it's Red Bull and Aston Martin. They both breached the regulations of the cost cap. But this is a huge story that Red Bull, again, weren't exactly playing by the book last year. And either way, they've gone over the cost cap. So, not playing by the book again.
Not the best idea, and Hamilton's going to love Michael Massey if Red Bull get excluded from last year's championship. But last year was absolutely just an utter shambles from start to finish. It's going to be a year from F1 history that's going to be in the history books forever.
And
in Formula 1 history, and just, I mean, Petronas on their Instagram story called Lewis an 8-time world champion a couple of days ago by accident. So maybe they know something that we don't.
If Lewis Hamilton wins a record-breaking 8th world championship on a disqualification from Red Bull, I think that's worse.
Yeah.
Because he's broken it without actually breaking it. I don't know. It's a weird one.
All will be revealed.
And it'll be revealed before the Japanese Grand Prix next weekend as well. George Russell has the most podium finishes for any Mercedes driver in their constructors' history without a victory. That's insane to think as well. And
he's only been in Mercedes for how long?
A year. Less than that, 9 months as well. So there's a big chance that he could do it. Nearly 10 months, actually, as well. This is Sergio Perez coming through turns 19 and 20. Or 20 and 21. Does he touch... Oh, he's had a... Oh, dear.
The catch to pay the fine.
Box. Coast into the pit lane.
Something's happened. Yeah, the gearbox has gone. Listen. He's lost drive. Neutral. The gearbox has gone for Perez. Oh, dear. So a glitch on the software for Sergio Perez to try and keep it going again. And they're all now walking around that car quite quickly, trying to figure out what's happened and trying to figure out, can we help in any way? Will you let us help? SHT, hey mate, I'm going into the track tomorrow. Jealous beyond belief. Make sure, send things in Discord, send things on to me, Josh99 as well, SHT. Send us some images of the track as well, and we'll use them in the build-up shows as well.
Give us the gold, give us the goods.
Yes, my precious as well. Come on, give us it. We want to see exactly everything, and it's a brilliant atmosphere at SHT, so hopefully you enjoy Singapore massively as well. As we're hopeful to get to at least one race next year from somewhere, maybe F1, MotoGP, touring cars and all that lot. We'll have to see what happens. We were hoping the British Grand Prix for F1, but now MotoGP's at Kazakhstan. It makes our life a little bit harder. SHT says, and the race could be raining from what I see in the weather report. It could,
It's meant to be raining and thundering all weekend from the weather that I saw.
Yeah, it's just got FP2, isn't it, where we could see some rain. As for the first time in history, the night has fallen during the first practice session here at Singapore. Usually, it doesn't happen. Usually, it's a complete day race. Let's hear from Sainz.
Oh, quickest.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Massively strong that.
They are 1 lap tyre.
There's no grip on the second lap. I think they are 1 lap tyre. That's what the team saying. I think they were 1 lap tyre. Well, you should know that But look at that, Josh, from Lewis Hamilton, a 1:43.033, quicker by 0.084 to Verstappen.
Are we magically back in 2021?
Yeah, that's a big statement of intent, isn't it, for Mercedes, saying we are back, as Bo's headphones back for Toto Wolff, not smashed.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Yeah, just thinking that. Not been smashed, which is good. But that's a statement
Yellow.
and a half. Yeah, yellow sector 3.
And
Oh,
it's Red Bull.
It's Verstappen. Verstappen coming into turn 19 has had a spin. He's got going again. And that was a bit of a...
There's no grip on the second lap.
That's the radio.
Yeah, 1 lap tyre.
Well, let's have a look at how he did it then for Verstappen. Into the braking zone then, out of turn 14. So it's actually straight on 14, I think. No, okay. So he gets through there. So it's down at 15 and 16. Does he go straight on? Does he have to loop it round? Turns in, locks up, just goes straight on, has to loop it around. So simple spin there for Verstappen. Just to get back on, just missing the braking point a little bit and only losing out.
That Alpine was Hamilton just driving past laughing.
I know. That's interesting. That is Jos Verstappen and his sister and Jos Verstappen's mother, Max's grandmother, here this weekend as well. Well, it is Max's 25th birthday, I suppose. Happy birthday, Max. As they come through. Gasly just out there on the circuit as well. We've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds left then of this first practice session at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. The first practice since 2019 here as well. And it's Lewis Hamilton who is fastest on a 1:43.033. Max Verstappen is second. Charles Leclerc is third. And we're on board right now with Pierre Gasly, who's in 11th position, just coming underneath the stadium sector into turns 21. Now gets on the power, 4th gear, 5th, 6th gear, back to 5th through turn 22 and 23. Cross the line in 6th gear. And it's a 1:45.258 for Gasly. He moves up into 9th position as well, which is a great job as well. Megan Birch is with us this weekend, just to let you know. It's part of her college routine that she's no longer in Fridays, but she might be joining us for practice 2 later on, depending on whether she gets her work done in time. As well. She will be joining us for the Singapore Grand Prix. She'll also be joining us if Max doesn't win the title this weekend and can win in Japan. She'll be joining us for the Japanese Grand Prix, but
He'll hate you if you wake her up for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Both Ian Birch and Megan Birch will be missing the United States Grand Prix due to Doctor Who having their centenary special, and we don't know when it's going to air. Whether it airs at 6 p.m. and finishes at 7:30, meaning that I get to come to the commentary box at 7:30, bang on time, or anywhere else as well. So it's a weird one as well. So we're hoping that Doctor Who's centenary special airs Sunday 23rd of October at 6 p.m, which means I get to watch it and then come to the commentary box half an hour before the start of the race. What will happen is we'll be live at 20 past the hour, but we'll be completely with Sky F1 instead as part of the build-up show as well. So Josh will be on, unless you're watching the Doctor Who special. I don't know if you are.
I'm not.
No. And then Josh will be on as... and he'll have access to the computer as well, so it'll be Josh who'll be talking you through a bit of the procedure as well before I get to the box at 7:30, if the start time is there.
I'll have access to the computer. Wait, this is news.
Yeah, the T-viewer, so that you can control the deck as well. But yeah, USRN I think are covering that race live as well, with it being their home race. We will be covering this weekend Singapore Grand Prix on USRN as well. Just because Matthew didn't want to cover the longest Formula One race of the year and then go cover the longest NASCAR race of the year. Not the Daytona race, but the Talladega race as well. Which I've also signed up for Talladega. I said, if you want me, I'll be there. I'll be there in a pit lane role. If you've got a full comp box, I'll happily sit back and do pit lane reports as well. Which I'm happy to do after doing Singapore. But I just want to be in the comps box for Talladega because it's the first race of the year where the TV pictures NASCAR's on free-to-air television in the UK that day. So yeah, it's on Free Sports TV. So I want to see it. Like
It's
last
Free
week's.
Sports? No way. What?
Yeah, last week's was too, as well, and I watched that one. So it was nice actually to have that, but I want it so that I can send the audio back. Oh, the checker flag is out. That's flown by. Checker flag.
So it is.
Yeah, checker flag's out. Session's over. Okay, came out just a few seconds ago. Perez fourth. He's already in the pit lane.
And it's at a
Russell's fifth.
reasonable time as well.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? 8 o'clock. So I can easily do it. I wanna. Although let's just see what Hurricane Ian is gonna have to say about that. Not Ian Birch, but yeah, the hurricane that is coming through at the current moment.
When Ian's next in the commentary box, I'm gonna joke saying, "Have you enjoyed your visit to Florida?"
I think he's in Sunday's race. I'm not too sure. He does like Singapore, but I don't know if he can sit here for the whole 2 hours. So he might be here. I might disappear, or
For
it
the
might
start and the finish.
Yeah. All I do know that is it's a full house for qualifying, because alongside myself and Josh, Megan will be joining us for qualifying, and Synthel will also be in the commentary box for the first time in qualifying, and he'll be in for FP3 tomorrow as well. And hopefully Synthel can join us in the race for USA, because at the moment we haven't got one. But I know Tom might be about as well, but I know Tom also watches some Doctor Who, so I don't know if he'll do that as things stand. But I think, Josh, for the first time this year, Lewis Hamilton ends a practice session fastest. I know Russell's done it, but I don't think Hamilton's done it this year.
Don't think he had.
Yeah, I can't think of that. Oh, that's a great camera angle for a checker flag. Please let's have that on Sunday. That's a great angle for the flag to come out. As they come
But
through.
it's a Ferrari strategist holding the camera, and just before the Ferrari comes to win, they drop the camera as part of their strategy.
Yeah, and it's good night, Mr.
So
Chips.
Guan Yu's family there in the back of the Alfa Romeo garage.
Just getting ready, aren't they, for a nice little shot there as well, as I'll take a stand up. Oh, and someone's got a signed head of Zhou Guan Yu as well. You know,
Not a real head, of course.
Yeah, well, it came off
Let's
at
just,
it came off at
let's
Silverstone.
just put
so-
that disclaimer in.
Yeah, it came off at Silverstone when he flew upside down. Anyway, Lewis Hamilton ends this session the fastest, with Verstappen second, Leclerc third, Perez fourth, Russell fifth, Sainz is sixth, Ocon seventh, Stroll eighth, Gasly ninth, Alonso 10th, 11th for Vettel, 12th on the board for Ricciardo, Bottas 13th as well. Yeah, go on.
Verstappen 2.
Yeah, maybe he will be number 2 after last year. If he does get that, imagine if Max gets the title taken away from him due to Red Bull. I think Max would leave Red Bull if that's the case. I generally don't know. It's such a bizarre situation to crop up. It's akin to Crashgate, in my opinion, because that came out a year later. So
I sent you a graphic.
I think you did, yeah.
A brilliant graphic. No driver has ever taken back-to-back Singapore Grand Prix poles. That includes teams.
Yes, so we're in for
So
a
no
weird
driver or team have taken back-to-back Singapore Grand Prix poles.
And wasn't it Ferrari last time out with Leclerc? So it could easily be Mercedes or Red Bull here this weekend as they all line up on the grid.
Because it was Vettel with Red Bull in 2013. Then it went Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes, Sebastian Vettel, Ferrari, Rosberg, Mercedes, Ferrari with Vettel, Hamilton with Mercedes, Leclerc with Ferrari. So it's gone Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes?
Yeah, that's got to happen. Got to happen. Come on. Mercedes on pole with Lewis Hamilton to take pole position 104. I'll take that.
Yeah,
Will it be win
Lewis
104?
Hamilton's had 4 poles here
so
at Singapore.
And he's just top practice 1. I mean, this is looking good for Lewis Hamilton in my books. Indeed. Anyway, we've been waiting for this. You saw a graphic yesterday for the new Sky F1. Now, get ready to see a new graphic for the session results. And it'll be the same for the starting grid as well. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this. It's brilliant.
I've seen it. It's good.
Yeah, I spent a whole day working on this and getting all the data in the right positions and the timing graphics and everything. to make sure it was top-notch, hunky-dory. And I can't wait for you to see it in just a few seconds' time as well. As we now take a look, hopefully, at the session results.
Nope.
No? Okay. People swimming into the overtop pool on the top of the Marina Towers. Okay. I'm waiting for the music to beep in. Come on.
Would love to watch an F1 race from there.
It's such a view. But it's you missed the start-finish line as well, actually, because it's more... here we go.
Here we go.
The session results then. It's Lewis Hamilton who ends the session fastest. Second is Max Verstappen. Third on the board as well for Charles Leclerc. It's fourth for Sergio Perez. Fifth for George Russell. Sixth is Carlos Sainz. Seventh for Esteban Ocon. Eighth, Lance Stroll. Ninth is Pierre Gasly. And Fernando Alonso rounds out the top 10. On the second half of the page in P11, it's Sebastian Vettel 11th. It's 12th for Danny Ricciardo as well. Valtteri Bottas is 13th. Kevin Magnussen 14th. 15th for Yuki Tsunoda. 16th for Alexander Albon. 17th for Zhou Guanyu. 18th for Mick Schumacher. Lando Norris is 19th. And 20th on the board for Nicholas Latifi as well. That's the session results from the first practice here for the Formula One Singapore Airlines Singapore Grand Prix. I am absolutely delighted, Josh, that worked out the way we thought it did. Did you see it? That looked perfect.
Yes, it looked amazing. And I know how much work that takes, especially when it's like every single name is a different box. Every single number is a different box. So yeah,
it took a long time. And
to get it all aligned and to get all of the cropping right, it just takes forever.
It does, and it took actually a couple of hours and to get that sorted, and then it was all day as well. But it's the same for the starting grid, but the starting grid actually got them 1-2 with row 1, row 2, row 3. So it's easier for everyone to read it, including me as well. And that way we're not just talking about a bizarre little monitor at the back.
Should have gone Specsavers, not sponsors.
Anyway, looking over the back then of the Marina Bay wheel as well, it's time for first practice to come to a close. Practice 2 is back. I think it's at 2:45. My thanks to you, Josh. My thanks to everyone at home for joining us. We'll be back later on for practice 2. Stay tuned for the action. We'll see you later. Bye for now.